Ethan Cole had long since grown used to carrying more than his share of responsibilities, though the weight often pressed on him in unexpected ways. As a single father and an elementary school teacher, his life was an endless cycle of lesson plans, grading papers, cooking meals, and making sure his daughter Lily felt safe and loved. To the outside world, Ethan was steady and dependable, but only he knew the private struggles that came with filling two roles at once, father and mother, provider and nurturer. That spring, the school was preparing for its annual play, a colorful event that every student eagerly anticipated, except for Lily, who had grown quiet at the thought of participating. Born with a slight limp, she always feared being laughed at, and though she excelled in academics, she shied away from anything that required her to be center stage. Ethan, noticing her hesitation, offered gentle encouragement, reminding her that she was stronger than she believed. When Lily whispered one night, "Daddy, what if I can't keep up with the other kids?" he didn't answer with logic but with love, sweeping her into his arms and twirling her clumsily across the kitchen floor. "Then I'll keep up with you," he said softly, making her laugh for the first time in days. From that moment, he made a promise: he wouldn't just direct the play, he would be by her side in every step. After school hours, while other teachers rushed home, Ethan stayed behind in the auditorium, helping the shy children practice their lines, their songs, and their little dances. The room echoed with small voices and nervous giggles, and in the center of it all was Ethan, guiding, clapping, and demonstrating moves he himself barely remembered. When Lily hesitated, he stepped in as her partner, holding her hand with such patience that the other kids began cheering for her. Slowly, Lily's confidence grew, her limp no longer the focus but just a part of her rhythm. None of them knew that, hidden in the very back of the auditorium, a woman stood in silence, her hands trembling beneath a worn hoodie. Claire, Lily's biological mother, had returned to town after years away, unsure of what she would find. Her heart had been torn every day since she walked out of their lives, a decision made out of desperation and fear. She had told herself that Ethan was better suited to raise their daughter, but now, watching him spin Lily under the dim stage lights, her chest ached with longing. She saw the laughter on Lily's face, the devotion in Ethan's eyes, and the bond she had abandoned. Claire's breath caught when she saw Lily stumble and Ethan catch her immediately, his voice calm and steady as he encouraged her to try again. A lump rose in Claire's throat, and she pressed herself against the shadows, unwilling to reveal her presence just yet. She had not expected to find her daughter so loved, so cherished, or her former love so steadfast. And as the rehearsal ended with Ethan carrying Lily in his arms, her giggles echoing like bells, Claire felt tears sliding down her cheeks, silently realizing what she had lost, and what she still desperately hoped to reclaim. The night of the school play arrived with the kind of excitement that filled every corner of the small-town auditorium, where parents filed in with cameras ready, children whispered nervously backstage, and teachers scurried about with last-minute instructions. Ethan, dressed simply but neatly, knelt beside Lily as she waited for her cue, his reassuring hand squeezing hers while reminding her of all the practice they had done together. "Remember, it's not about being perfect, sweetheart," he whispered, his voice low and steady. "It's about being brave." Lily nodded, though her lip trembled, and as the curtains rose and the first scene began, she clung to his words like an anchor. Out in the crowd, hidden among rows of proud parents, Claire sat in the shadows, her hood drawn slightly forward to conceal her face, her heart pounding harder with every passing second. She had told herself she only came to see Lily, to witness even a glimpse of the girl she had left behind, but as the lights illuminated the stage, she found herself drawn again and again to Ethan, whose calm presence radiated even from backstage. When Lily's moment finally came, she froze under the bright lights, her small frame stiff as the music began. The audience shifted uncomfortably, murmuring softly, but Ethan, without hesitation, stepped onto the stage, smiling as if it had always been part of the plan. He reached for Lily's hand, twirling her gently as the other children continued their dance, and soon the entire performance shifted around them, the teacher dancing alongside his daughter in a tender, unscripted moment. The audience gasped at first, then erupted into applause, clapping and cheering louder with every twirl, as Lily's fear melted into laughter. She stumbled once, but Ethan caught her and whispered something only she could hear, something that made her beam with pride. Claire pressed her hands against her mouth, tears slipping down her cheeks, unable to contain the flood of emotions, the regret of leaving, the awe of seeing Ethan's devotion, and the bittersweet pride at seeing her daughter glow with happiness. She realized then that she had missed not only Lily's milestones but also Ethan's sacrifices, the long nights, the tireless encouragement, the unconditional love that carried their daughter forward. As the final note rang out and the children bowed, Ethan knelt beside Lily, bowing with her, his hand still firmly holding hers, and the audience rose to their feet in a standing ovation. For everyone else, it was a charming school play moment, but for Claire, it was a dagger of truth and a flicker of hope. She wanted desperately to rush forward, to reveal herself, to hold Lily and tell her she had never stopped loving her, yet fear anchored her in place. What if Lily hated her? What if Ethan never forgave her? Still, as she watched them together, bathed in the warm glow of the stage lights, Claire felt the faint stirring of courage, the first step toward a choice she had been running from for far too long. When the curtain closed and the auditorium emptied into a sea of proud parents congratulating their children, Ethan guided Lily backstage, where hugs and laughter filled the air, but before long, he noticed a small figure lingering in the hallway, half hidden by the shadows near the exit. Lily's eyes were sharper than his, and she gasped softly, tugging at his sleeve before whispering, "Daddy. I think that's my mom." Ethan froze at the word, the syllables echoing in his chest like a thunderclap, and when he turned, his breath caught in his throat, for standing just beyond the dim glow of the stage lights was Claire, the woman he had not seen in years, the woman who had walked away when life became too heavy, leaving him to raise their daughter alone. Time seemed to collapse around him as their gazes locked, hers filled with trembling regret, his brimming with disbelief and unspoken fury. Lily, her heart pounding, stepped forward hesitantly, her voice shaking as she said, "Mom. Is it really you?" Claire's knees buckled, and she fell to the floor, tears streaming down her face as she whispered, "Yes, baby, it's me. I'm so sorry, I've missed you every day." Ethan instinctively stepped in front of Lily, his protective instinct flaring like fire, his voice cold as steel. "You don't get to just show up here," he said harshly, his hands shaking as he fought to keep control. "You don't know what it's been like, raising her alone, answering her questions, watching her cry at night because she wondered why her mother didn't want her." Claire sobbed harder, clutching her chest as if the weight of his words were crushing her, yet she refused to run this time. "I never stopped wanting her, Ethan," she choked, her voice raw with truth. "I thought she'd be better off without me, I thought I would only hold her back, but I was wrong. I was so wrong." Lily, caught between the storm of her father's anger and her mother's sorrow, reached for both their hands with trembling fingers, her young voice breaking through the silence. "Please don't fight. I don't care what happened before. I just want both of you now." Ethan's chest heaved, his jaw tight, but her words pierced the armor he had built for so many years, forcing him to face the pain and the possibility that maybe, just maybe, there was room for forgiveness. The three of them stood in the empty hallway, the echoes of the play still faintly humming in the background, bound together by the fragile thread of hope that had not yet snapped, and though the past loomed heavy between them, the simple touch of their daughter's hand was enough to keep them from walking away. The following morning, the school was unusually quiet, its empty halls echoing faintly with the laughter and applause of the previous night, but Ethan's heart was anything but calm as he entered the gymnasium, only to find Claire waiting near the stage where it had all unfolded, her posture small and uncertain, her eyes red from sleepless tears. For a long moment, neither spoke, the silence heavy with years of pain and words left unsaid, until Claire finally stepped forward, her voice fragile yet determined. "Ethan, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, and I know I can't erase what I did, but please believe me, I left because I was weak, not because I didn't love her, and every day I've carried the weight of that mistake. I came back because I want to try, even if it means starting at the very bottom." Ethan's jaw clenched as he listened, his mind flashing through lonely nights spent rocking Lily to sleep, the milestones he celebrated alone, the tears he wiped from their daughter's face whenever she asked why her mother was gone. "Do you have any idea what you put us through?" he asked, his voice low but shaking with the effort to keep his emotions contained. "Do you know how many times she cried herself to sleep wondering if she wasn't good enough to keep you around?" Claire winced at his words, but instead of retreating, she nodded, her tears spilling over again. "I know," she whispered. "And I will spend the rest of my life proving to both of you that I will never leave again." The sincerity in her voice pierced through Ethan's bitterness, though the scars of abandonment still throbbed deep inside him. Before he could respond, Lily came skipping into the gym, her little face lighting up as she saw them both. "Can we dance again?" she asked innocently, her eyes wide with hope. Ethan hesitated, but Claire extended her hand timidly, and when Lily grabbed both of theirs, tugging them toward the stage, Ethan felt his resolve soften. Together they climbed onto the wooden floor, the very place where Ethan had held Lily steady the night before, and as music from a faintly working speaker filled the gym, Lily led them into a clumsy, laughter-filled dance. Claire stumbled, Ethan caught her, and Lily giggled between them, her joy pure and radiant. For the first time in years, the three of them moved as one, not polished or perfect, but together. Ethan looked at Claire, and for the first time since her return, he saw not just the woman who had left, but the mother who wanted desperately to make things right. In that fragile, imperfect dance, forgiveness began to take root, not as a sudden miracle but as a slow, tender rhythm that promised a second chance. And as Lily's laughter rang through the empty gymnasium like the sweetest music, Ethan realized that maybe, just maybe, their broken family had found a way to begin again.